Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. This is episode 3 of the Discord JS 13 guide, and in this episode we're going to be going a little more in depth into slash commands. I will be showing you how to set up arguments or options for slash commands, and also we will take a look at subcommands. So let's jump straight into it. I hope you'll enjoy. Now starting off, before the actual tutorial, I'm going to be creating a sample file, and let's call this test.js, and in here I'm going to be pasting some code that I've copied. Now this is how you register a slash command generally in Discord.js, and let's go through this code real quick. So first we import a slash command builder from the builders module, and what we do here is we take the slash command builder and instantiate it, and then we can pass in various variables. So we can set this name, the description, and also we can add options. And this is important because in this episode we're going to be taking a look at options. Now let's go back to ping.js, which is the command we created in the previous episode, which is a slash command. And here we can see that in Sapphire.js, the framework allows us to set the name, description, and all that using the constructor itself. So we don't have to go through the troubles of registering the slash command ourselves. But the thing is, if you want to set options like this, we can't do that normally using the constructor. So we will have to register the slash command ourselves. And in this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Now I'm going to be creating a file called add.js, and this is going to have the add command, and add command is a simple command which will add two numbers. So let me change the ping command name to add command in all the respective places, and let's also change this numbers. There we go. So we will be changing the run function a little later, but first let me also remove this. And as you can see, we have only exported the class itself. We're not using an object, so we can do that as well. We can just pass in the class itself. So now we have to create a function, we have to extend a function of the command class in order to register the slash command ourselves, and let me show you how to do that. So this command or this function is going to be called register application commands. It is a synchronous function, so we don't have to add async like here, and this takes in a registry, and this registry will allow us to build the slash command. So this registry itself has another function, so let's call registry.register chat input command, and here we have to pass in another function as an argument. So this function will take in a builder, which is the slash command builder, for example, which we have imported, and this builder we can set in all the variables. We can set the name, the description, and the option, and after that the slash command will be registered. So what we can do is we can either create a function here, so we can do something like function builder or function register, and we can pass in a builder, and we can do this, and later on we can add register here as the argument. But what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be using the anonymous function syntax, or the lambda function, and what this is that it allows you to define a function as an argument directly within this function call. So it's a little complicated for beginners, but basically what you do is you type in the arguments that you pass into the function here. So it is going to be builder, and we use the arrow syntax and curly brackets to show that this is the body of the function that we have passed in as the argument. So here we have a function which does not have a name, but it is the argument, and that function itself takes the builder argument. So now this builder is the slash command builder that we have imported, but it is provided to us, and we can use this to set our variables. So I'm going to be copying this and pasting it in, and then we can make changes according to our needs. So let's name this add. I'll copy this, and here it has add string option. I'm going to be changing this to integer option because we're adding an integer, and let me format this a little bit. So we can see that the integer option function takes an anonymous function in itself. Now I've removed that, but let's go back to this file, and we see that the function takes in an option parameter, and we use the option once again to set the parameters or set the values for the option. So let's write this down here as well, option, and use the arrow syntax, and here to option.setName, like here they don't have the curly brackets because it's only in a single line, but let me add curly brackets just in case. Option.setName, and let's call this X. Now note that you can't have the capital letters in the option name, so you need to be careful of that. And then I'll add set description, the first variable, and then we'll set required to true. Now let's copy this, and I'm going to be making another variable for the second, or another option for the second variable, and let's call this y. So now we've got the two options. We have to use the options within the chat input run command in order to get the values and then add them to get the result. So let me show you how to do that. So for this, let's define const x, and this will be equal to interaction dot options dot get integer x. So this will go through all of the integer options and it will get x, as x is the name of the first variable. Now let's do the same for y, and there we go. So now after this we can define another variable z, and this z will be equal to x plus y. So this is basically the sum of the two options that we have inputted. And now finally let's reply to the interaction dot reply, and I will be using the backtick syntax to add the two numbers and get the result. So let's do x plus y is equal to z. And there we go. So now if we run this and test it out, it should work. Okay, so I ended up removing the curly brackets because that gave us an error, so looks like that isn't needed. Now let's run this command, add 2 and 5, and let's see, 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. So we can see the command works. Let's also try something else, like 34 plus 77, and we get 111. So as you can see, the command works, and that's basically how you add options to the slash commands. Now we can also do something like we can create a subtract command, which uses basically the same syntax, but instead of adding, we subtract the two numbers, and we can create different files for each of them. But the problem that happens there is that the files get too clogged up because we have similar types of functions and loads of files for them. So instead of having that problem, what we can do is we can create a single file and create subcommands from that file. So we can do something like math.js, create a math function or a math command, and we can have math add, math subtract as subcommands. So how this would work is that you would call it something like math add 1 2 to add two numbers, and if you wanted to subtract, you can do like math sub 1 2, and basically you will have subcommands for the math command itself, and all of it will be incorporated into one file. So now let's change all of this to math, and here as well, and let's also change the name. And let's call it math command. And now in the registry we will have to change some things, because we're going to be changing not only the function but also we're going to be adding subcommands. So let's change all of these to math command, and now we will be using a function which is called add subcommand. And now once again we will be passing an anonymous function. This time it's going to take in the command variable, and this command will have the functions passed into itself just like the options. So we can do command.set name. Let me format this a little bit. So set name, let's call this add, and then set description, and let's copy this description that we have right here, adds two numbers. And now we can also pass in the options itself, the integer options. So let's just copy this and paste it in here into the subcommand instead. So now that we have all the variables, I'm going to be copying this entire subcommand and pasting it in, but now we're going to be adding the subtract function. So let's change the name to subtract, or subtracts two numbers, and we have the same options here. And now we will have to make a change in the chat input run command, or chat input run function, because now we have two subcommands. We will have to listen for each of them. And now let me comment this out, and what I will be doing is I'll be creating a new function. Let's call this async chat input run once again, and it will also take in the interaction. So it will be basically the same, but the code inside the function itself will be different. So what we will be writing is we will be taking the subcommand. So const subcommand equal to interaction dot option. So it is a little confusing here because we're calling it options, although it is actually a subcommand, not an option. So interaction dot options dot get subcommand, and we will be listing this as true so that we can get the first subcommand that is invoked. And now the subcommand will give us the name of the subcommand. So if we do something like if subcommand is equal to add, we can call a function for add, and else if subcommand is equal to sub, we can call the other function. And now we have to define the two functions for the function for the commands. So for the first one, let's call it async add. It will take in the interaction, as we will have to reply to the interaction. And now let's take all of this code and paste it in, and let me uncomment this out, and there we go. So now if the math add command is used, we have this function to execute. So let's do await add, or await this add, and we pass in the interaction, and let's also return from it so that this ends this function, the chat input run function, and directly goes into the add function and executes all of this code. Now let's copy this and create a similar one for sub, and we will change this to minus, and we will do x minus y is equal to z, and once again let's return await this dot sub interaction, and finally then we'll remove all of this code and wrap this around curly brackets, and there we go. Now let's run this and test it out. Now let's go back here, open this up, we have math add, let's do something like 34 plus 1, so it will be 35, and there we go, we get 35. And let's also try sub 66 minus 22, so it has to be 44, and there we go, 66 minus 22 is equal to 44. So we have a single math command, and we have two different subcommands. So we have add, we have subtract. These are from previous recordings which I had done, which didn't work out. So yeah, we have 4 commands here registered, but it is supposed to be only 2 if you do it normally. We had registered the same command twice, so that is why we have duplicates. Now once again let's try this out, 66 plus 33, and there we go, 99. So that's basically how you do subcommands and also add options. We have to register the slash commands using the register application commands function. And yeah, so I think that is going to be it for this video. Please do leave down in the comment section what you want to see next. We could tackle embeds, or we could do something else like buttons, slash menus, select menus, or even modals, which are relatively new to the API. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. Please do leave a like if you did find this helpful, and I will see you all on the next video.